So recently, of precious metals, there's been a lot of talk about silver and much less as gold. Today is September 25th, 2014. I believe that's because silver had a bigger move, and of course there was a bigger move to the downside. Last Friday, big move down. Right now, silver's down about 25 cents, it's 17.43, and it hasn't, after the big jolt on Friday, it kind of stabilized a little bit. And one final anecdote about silver is, in the silver community, you have people who are all silver. They talk about silver all the time. Then you have like channels or blogs or newsletters that are preppers, where silver was a part of their discussion points. One of these people is Woody O'Brien. Woody O'Brien has a newsletter, and recently on an interview, I heard him say that he would rather stack wood than silver. He was saying in this interview that wood is a better indicator of inflation. Wood is more useful. He's talking about like firewood, right? So he's kind of getting off the silver train, and I'm seeing that where a lot of prepping people who had silver as one aspect of what they're talking about, they're ditching the silver. And of course, if you are looking for a silver floor, those are usually good signs if you want to buy, when a lot of people who start ditching their silver talk or their silver investment or just dissing silver in general. Okay, so going back to gold, a few years ago, when the Central Bank of India bought a big purchase of gold, and gold shot up to 1,050, that was a big deal, and that was a lot of talk about central banks and gold. In 2009, a trend reversed. In 2009, central banks became net buyers of gold, and there's even a central bank gold agreement that my friend Moments in Trading did a video on. Moments in Trading does outstanding videos. In his videos, what he does is he gives you facts and data, and he talks about the facts and data. He doesn't tell you where he thinks stuff is going. He's just giving you the facts and data presented in reports, and then you take what he says and you make your own conclusion. You see, that's what I kind of want. I want someone to lay out the facts and the data, then I can make my own opinion. I can share with you my opinion, but if you really want to have a opinion, you should go right to the facts and the data and not rely on someone else to try and tell you what to do. So, there's a central bank gold agreement. In my opinion, what happened was for 10 years, gold went steadily up. For 10 years, every year for 10 years, gold going up. That was something. That was spectacular. For something to go up every year for 10 years, that was spectacular. And then, of course, what happens is when something goes up every year for 10 years, the speculators pile on because they think they're seeing a sure thing. Tongue twister, right? So what happens is then in the 11th year, you get promises. Oh, this thing always goes up and never pulls back. Well, it pulled back, and then it pulled back for a few years. Maybe we'll pull back again this year. But basically, it got overheated. And in my opinion, central banks had added a new level of demand for gold. Now, central banks using money as gold. Okay, so this topic about what is the definition of money. There are people who've been around for less than a decade who are giving us definitions for things that have already been defined. In the banking sector, money is hierarchical. I'm getting this from Statistic Cool. He's one of my quality subscribers, right? I mean, he has a small channel, but as someone else said, it's about quality over quantity. And he has some outstanding links. He had a link from an Ivy League professor who's giving free courses over the internet. Now, you don't have to take tests, but I was watching some of these videos, and he was defining things like money, banking, shadow banking, all these definitions we hear in the mainstream, in the alternative media, and in the mainstream media. Even the mainstream media is guilty too. A media outlet will define something, and they'll define it wrongly, or they'll just create their own definition. You got to go to the source. So basically, the banking sector, money is considered hierarchical. What that means is what is your money is not the central bank's money, or is not the commercial bank's money. What money is what you need to extinguish your debt, to pay your bills, to buy stuff, right? For me, I'm on the bottom of this hierarchy and getting squashed, of course, right? I need those Federal Reserve notes, whether they're in paper form or digital form. I need those to pay my taxes. If I take a loan out, I need those things to repay my loans. For me, that is the money I use. And of course, the central banks, they're on the higher level. For them, money is different things. One thing that is money for central banks is gold. Gold is one of the forms of money they use. And it is not the only money. On a central bank balance sheet, gold is not the only money. In fact, right now, gold is a tiny part of what they have for money. But it is money that they use. Now, if I have a Krugerrand, I can't go to the bank and deposit it. And I can't go to the bank and I can't, well, I can put it in a safety deposit box with my mustache. But that's something different, right? I can't go to the bank and say, I want to deposit a Krugerrand. It's like, okay, well, convert that Krugerrand to something that we use. Or if you want to pay a loan off, you can't go to the bank and say, here's a Krugerrand. You have to convert that to something else. So from the central bank's perspective, they still may use gold as money. And of course, what matters is what you see in the documents. It doesn't matter what hot air you use. You hear pundits talking about gold. That is hot air. What matters are the actual agreements in place and actually what happens. What actually happens in central banks as a whole are buying gold, and central banks use gold as money among themselves. Here's another parallel. So even though we're in the bottom of the hierarchy with these Federal Reserve notes, there's actually a layer lower. There are people in the world who accumulate paper dollars for security and for savings. Just how us in the bottom of the hierarchy, consumers, we might accumulate gold even though we can't directly use it. The people in third world countries who accumulate dollars, now they can't use the dollar to pay, like someone in Mexico, right? They take a loan out in pesos. They got to pay in pesos. They got to pay their taxes in pesos, right? Well, the people in Mexico might happily exchange American dollars over a Mexican pesos. The fact of the matter is they have to pay their taxes in those pesos. They have to pay their loans in those pesos. They have to take out loans in pesos. So for them, they don't have a, quote, direct use for dollars, but they have a great indirect use for dollars because they'll all accept them amongst each other and then go to America and they can spend those dollars. That's kind of how gold is. So when we have these paper dollars, we have people in third world countries who are hoarding them, right? That's kind of how the central bank, in my opinion, views us, right? The central banks use gold among money themselves, and you have some consumers who are holding this gold. That's kind of like us with paper dollars, and people in third world countries who are hoarding them. And of course, a few years ago, there was a theory that the world would lose confidence in the dollar, and all these people in third world countries would suddenly dump all their dollars and would cause massive inflation. And I guess that would be true. I guess if everybody who's hoarding dollars all over the world decided to dump them, I guess that would cause the price of the dollar to plummet. Kind of like how central banks started accumulating gold and people all over the world started accumulating gold also. And in the last few years, the speculators started dumping their gold and they caused the price of gold to fall. I think that's a good parallel. I think from the central bank perspective, right, they want to accumulate gold regularly, and now they got people who are accumulating gold and dumping it and causing the price of their gold to go like this. Kind of like how us in America, if you're in America, we use dollars to buy stuff. People in third world countries might be hoarding this paper dollars, and if they dump it, it would cause the value of our dollar to go down temporarily. I think that could be a parallel that I'm seeing. So in conclusion, regardless of what hot air you hear, you gotta look at what's really happening. What are the real reports? What is the actual silver report saying, right? I mean, I still hear false myths or false rumors about silver's going extinct. That is not people reading the actual silver report. That is someone hearing an erroneous statement made several years ago and repeating it. If you read the actual silver report, which Moments in Trading does analyze, you will see that nowhere there does the Silver Institute say silver is going extinct, and nowhere there does the silver report saying there's a shortage of silver. All that person did was take one piece of data a few years ago, blow it out of proportion, and inaccurately report on it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. And I want to keep learning stuff. You guys teach me so much stuff. Thank you.